Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room and help with balance when I'm on the baseball field.
One of the most comfortable, reduces concussion, increases performance. You can't get a mouthpiece like that on the market.
Not only is it a great product, it's super easy to use. I recommend it for any player at any age or any level. Thank you guys so much, and go check out NeuroGuard Plus.
NeuroGuard mouthpiece makes it easy to breathe while playing basketball. The unique design is not as bulky as any other mouthpiece and makes you feel safe in concussions.
NeuroGuard may control my breathing while I'm riding. It stops me getting concussions while I wreck. It's very easy to use, so go pick one up today.
I'm still doing stunts. And the concussions I've got, I feel much safer with that. I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing a whole lot better in the gym. So NeuroGuard Plus, once this one wears out, you've got a customer for life, because I'm telling you people, NeuroGuard Plus is the way to go, and me, Mark Ash, says so.
Parents, kids, coaches, NeuroGuard. It's the future. Stay tuned.
Time. Brown right, motion, tailback slant. Let's put the women and children to bed and go looking for fun, all right? On one, ready? Go 13! Coming up, go 13! Hey!
Lights are bright on Friday night. Falling small tears.
It's time to talk a little 3A football. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennegrant Goodwin here. Sideline to Sideline, the Week 4 edition, 3A style, right here on L4 Media. Brought to you by NeuroGuard Plus. As we've been saying in the other two shows, we're starting to hit that time of the year where teams are starting to round into form. And, man, in 3A, some of the matchups that we saw last week, some of the matchups we're seeing this week, we've been saying this for a few years now, but it feels like we're really there now where it doesn't feel like any of the good teams play crap schedules anymore.
Right. They're playing murderers row.
Yeah, at least 2 games out of 4, you're going to see most of the teams that you go look at the end of the year. This will be a good little fun project. At the end of the year, we're going to look at the start. I think the region semifinals is a good spot and see who all they played. And you're going to see, you're going to see a lot of these teams all played each other at different classifications, but you're seeing teams that, whether it be because they want to schedule tough teams or that's all they can schedule, we're getting some great this is one of the best non-districts we've had. I've enjoyed, and we always enjoy non-district, but we always joke, man, about this time of the year, usually it's like, kind of getting ready for district. I'm still enjoying some of these non-district matchups. We've got a couple.
Sometimes non-district's better than district this year.
A lot of times it can be when you get some of these districts where you've obviously got the one top team and then everybody else. All right, if this is the first time you're watching or listening, hello. We like to talk a little Texas football, and we do that 4A, 2A, and 3A style. This is the 3A show. We do a review of the week before, preview the week that is, and we're going to jump right into it. 3A, we're going to go where we were last week, Bushland, as they continue the roll, as they beat a solid Midland Greenwood team, 35-14. Grant, they really what Bushland does so well, and they did it against Canadian in the third and fourth quarters, is if they smell blood, man, they pounce. And they did that in the second quarter with 21 straight points to distance themselves from the Rangers. Quad Ferris, again, a great game. Ran for over 100 yards, threw for over 100 yards. Just a methodical, efficient win for the Falcons.
Yeah, Ty Purcell has 2 touchdowns in the game. One of them was an 87-yard run. Great safety. This Bushland defense is the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what
Quade Ferris, he's starting to feel it, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
he looked real. Now, the first couple throws against Canadian, you could see that, okay, because there's one.
But he grew up in the game.
Yeah, he grew up in the game. Exactly. There was one throw early.
Sometimes you grow up in the season.
Yeah.
This kid grew up in the game.
Well, almost every coach, whenever that quarterback has that moment, they'll point to a moment. And, And I really feel early in that Canadian game, they had a guy go down the sideline, and he was a step too late when he threw it. Later on, and it might not have been the exact same route, but same idea, and he put it there perfectly.
Yeah.
Right as the receivers had that break, it's right in his hands, and it was like at that moment, it clicked for him.
Yeah.
And folks, 3A Division I, Bushland's not going away, man.
No.
If Region 1 has a vacuum right now with Brock out of there, and Bushland would happily fill it as they keep winning. Let's now go into Central South Texas, Franklin, Lorena. 42-21 as Jaden Jackson runs for 149 yards, 16 carries. But this is the one. Noah Tart went 5 for 7 for 100 yards passing.
And when Franklin is able to go 5 of 7 with a quarterback for 100 yards passing, you're in trouble.
Well, and I told you talking with some
because
folks,
now play action is in play. I mean, look what the Saints did to the Cowboys.
Yep.
Did they not do the same thing?
Exactly.
Run it. Pop
Play
it
action
over
over the
your
top.
head. Pop it over your head.
And down at
now you got your defensive tackles confused. Your linebackers are covered up,
and they have to do the false step. And when you're playing Jaden Jackson,
is masters at that.
Yes, when you're playing Jaden Jackson, you don't want your linebackers taking a step back first.
And somebody had brought up a good point on one of the message boards where you count Franklin out. We never counted Franklin out.
I saw that. That's not.
But
what
I
we
understand
said.
we're not Franklin all the time like we have been the last few years. But we understand how good Franklin is this year, spreading it around a little bit more. But I'm not so sure that people aren't writing Franklin off this year. There probably are a lot of people.
Look, Columbus is the prettiest girl on the block right now. They're doing things that Columbus has been right there the last couple of years. Now it feels like with their addition, the trade to be for a player to be named later, it feels like that maybe that was the one thing that they were missing. For me, I've been impressed with Columbus's the willingness to get physical. And the only way you're going to survive this region, even with Lorena not in there anymore, but you've still got Franklin and teams like that. The only way you're going to survive is you've got to be physical in the third round. And Columbus wasn't last year against Lorena.
Right.
Lorena, and we both thought that they were going to handle Lorena. And what I said about Franklin is, and this is not a knock, they're not where they were last year. They shouldn't be where they were last year. They've got to build to that.
Be. I still think they might be as good though.
By the end of the year, I'm talking about right now.
There's nothing they've done that so far that has shown me they're not.
Yeah, they graduated players.
Well, I know, but I mean, just looking at their line of work,
again,
their resume.
I think people are not understanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying that at the end of the year, they're not going to be as good. I'm saying right now in week 4 of 2024, this Franklin team is not as good as the team that lost the heartbreaker to the state championship at that moment in December. I'm not saying that.
Well, nobody's as good as what they're going to be.
That was my point.
Okay.
And I knew you understood what I meant, but some people took that. I'm not saying they're not going to be there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
I think Franklin's going to be as good as they were last year.
I think they have a real good chance. And when you got Jaden Jackson, you're always at a chance. And I was going to say, talking to some folks down at coaching school, they said, hey, look, we're not going to throw it 20 times, but we would like to work in the threat of passing a little bit more. And that's a good start against a good Lorena's banged up.
I think the moral to this story is don't forget about Franklin.
Yeah, don't forget about Franklin. Yeah. Franklin who? No.
Because they will likely end up in Arlington, and we're going. I'm just saying.
Grant says Franklin rolls Columbus.
No, I don't say that, but I mean that will be a slobber knocker of a game
I
that
just
we're going to
hope
be at.
if that is the region final, or I don't know if they can be region. Again, we don't follow all the trees.
And
but
if that
when
game happened right now, Columbus would be favorites.
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
think so.
not saying
I think
that
so.
I would even pick against Franklin.
Okay, let's say
against Columbus.
right now, if Columbus and Franklin were playing this week, not a playoff game, just they've scheduled a non-district game. Who would you have win? Who would you pick if they were playing?
I don't
this week?
know. That'd be a push.
Can we make
Because I
that
don't
happen?
think Franklin, huh?
Can we just go? Can we ask the coaches just to screw the schedule and let's just meet up in the parking lot?
We can't do that, and I'm not going to call a winner right now, but I'm just telling you, Columbus would not run roughshod over Franklin.
You know somebody
Franklin would give them everything they want. And
100%.
Franklin might win.
Whoever
Franklin
wins that game would be a one
might
possession.
or probably win. I don't know. We haven't seen Columbus in person.
Yeah,
it'll be next week next week when we see Columbus
against Belleville.
Maybe I'll give you a little bit more of a definitive answer when I see this team in person. Right?
I'll tell you somebody else people need to not forget about. Does that sound right? Jacksboro. I know everybody thought, hey, last year that was a fun run. They upset Holiday. They took Gunner. Tidehaven gave Gunner a quarter and a half. Or I'm sorry, they gave them a quarter and a half, not a quarter and half. Well, no, quarter. You know what I mean?
It might have been a quarter and half.
And then
Jacksboro
gave them the other tough game for a lot of that game. And everybody thought, well, hey, that was great, but they're losing one of the best quarterbacks in 3A last year in Lando Belcher. But this Jacksboro defense is better this year. And Luke Sims at running back, I kind of feel like Jacksboro might be one of those teams that loses the best player, but they're a better all-around team, especially defensively.
Yeah, I mean, Luke Sims runs for 185 yards. Wyatt Gavitt, threw for 207 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenan Venezuela, 108 yards receivings. Jacksboro's now 3-0.
And hey, Peaster
32-13 over a really good Peaster.
Yeah, Peaster's come out. They upset.
I know Peaster
Toller.
has some injuries.
Yeah,
but
yeah, they were like them. Well, them and Paradise, both of them have just been hit hard with weird things. But yeah, good start for Peaster. And I thought this was a good game. This was a competitive game. Peaster hung around. Jacksboro just kind of wore them down. Same thing happened. Anahuac beat Garrison 42-14. Anahuac now 3-0.
Maybe not starting to make you think they're elite a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
It's easy to say, hey, yeah, you're playing a 2A team, but this is a good Garrison program. And for them to go out and thump them after a really hard-fought win against Woodville last week. Both of those games, by the way, on the road. And Woodville and Garrison are both really hard places to go in and win. I think the Panthers might be building off of what they did last year, and we're starting to see it early.
We might need to make it down to Anahuac for a game.
I would not hate to see that. One of the best tight ends in Quandre Coates, who is 3A Texas and of course 2 of them come from Brock when they were there with Baylor Cup and Nathan Jones, but Quandre Coates, the tight end for Columbus. I'm sorry, his name escapes me a couple years ago. Tight ends at 3A for some reason are really good, but yeah, good win for Anahuac.
Yeah, Panhandle 43, Dalhart 21. Panhandle's now 3-0. Look for Panhandle to make some noise out in Region 1. Seminole 44, Sweetwater 7.
Hey, look, we said this at the beginning of the year when I can't remember who it is now. We just talked about in the 3A show. Seminole beat somebody in week 1, and we were knocking that team. And then you start seeing what Seminole's done since, and you go, okay, wait a minute. Maybe that's just that Seminole really is that good with that quarterback, and I think they are.
Yeah, Columbus 60, Needville 21. It's more for the 3A show.
This is the 3A show.
I was kind of curious about Needville. Needville's kind of spit the bit a little bit.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be fine. I still think they're going to be competitive in 4A. And if you want to hear the whole talk on that one, go to the 4A show. But basically, I just thought we both felt Columbus would win. We both felt Columbus would win comfortably. I thought Needville would put up a little bit more of a fight. Columbus will get that in the next 2 weeks. I bet they don't score. That's my big bet for Columbus Cardinals fans. In the next 2 weeks, you've scored 60 points in every game so far. I don't think you'll score 60 against Madisonville or Belleville. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, that not close. I cannot wait for that Columbus Belleville game, though, man.
I cannot
wait.
What do you think about Edna? Good win.
Yeah, Edna over Furio by a touchdown, basically 42-35. That's good. Edna's coming off back-to-back big wins over their hated rival, Bay City, right? One of the biggest rivalries in the state. And they win that one and then survive that emotional thing to play one of the best teams in Class 2A and beat Refugio.
Well,
So,
and
yeah,
don't forget, they opened the year off in a great win against Vanderbilt Industrial, 38-35.
Yeah.
I mean, Edna, it's not like they're beating all 3A top 5 teams by any stretch, but they're beating 3 really good programs in 3 really tough games. And
that's what athleticism will do for you.
They've got a sneaky one coming up against Orange Grove this week. I think Edna wins, but
it's not anywhere near what they were playing.
Oh, I know, but that's my point.
It was here, and now we're here.
But sometimes
it could be a sleeper game.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a trap game. That's exactly what I meant. All right, so let's see where else.
How about Idalou and Levelland? Idalou 33, Levelland 16. This Idalou defense dominated Levelland. The defense had forced like 5 3-and-outs of Levelland. Idalou's quarterback Kutcher Hutchinson had 4 touchdowns on the night. Idalou's now 3-0.
And 3 not spectacular, but solid wins. Beating Sweetwater, beating Lubbock Cooper, Liberty, the new school, and then beating Levelland. 3 really, really good games. They'll donkey stomp Compass coming up this week. But in 2 weeks, they get a run of Shallow Water and Wall to end district, and then they start district play with maybe the 2 teams that will, I don't know, Muleshoe's 3-0, but Lubbock, Roosevelt, and Littlefield. So they've got a 4-game stretch here. Idalou, we're going to really find out if they're going to be a Region 1 3A Division 2 threat.
Yep. Tidehaven 29, Hallettsville 19, I think it was. Is that right?
Yes, good solid win for Tidehaven. We kind of talked about it a little bit on them because we were talking about who they played earlier in a 2A school. And we were like, I think people have just assumed Tidehaven goes back to just being okay. That's still a loaded team. Yes, they're missing Joseph Dodd, but they're finding other guys. And so a real good win. Good win for Jefferson. They trailed for 90% of this game against the DeKalb team. That's a little bit better than what I think people think.
But it gives me a little bit of pause
on
this Jefferson defense.
And we kind of knew that was going to be their Achilles is their defense. Yeah, it looked great against Leonard.
But looking at the totality of things, if you are a 3A team that wants to get to Arlington for a state championship, you have to have it both offensively and defensively. And defensively, they should not be giving up 30 to DeKalb.
DeKalb came into the game 2-0. They had scored 48 on Mineola, 32 on Pittsburgh. You can look at it in the totality of they gave up 30, or you can look in the totality of that they gave up 20 in the first half and then held them to 10 in the second half as that offense kind of straight. I think DeKalb
to me it's still 30.
I think DeKalb
I don't know. I think that's a great win for Jefferson the way they did it, but to me that gives me a little bit pause on the statewide.
Yeah, no, and I think that's valid because we both said what will happen when they play speed, and they look great against Leonard. I do think DeKalb is better than people think. I know they lost Winky Williams; he graduated, but they've got a ton back from a program. They're not the joke anymore. I mean, the last 3 years they've made the playoffs. They're a competitive team, and so I think I give Jefferson a little bit of a benefit of the doubt right now, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Cuero 61, Yoakum 49.
This is just a typical Yoakum Cuero game, man. You can never. This is one of those rivalries that you truly can never get a thumb on. Like whenever you think it's one way, it's going to go another. Yoakum, their first loss of the game. The positive is through 3 games, they've scored 40 points in every game. The negative is they've given up 32, 42, and 61. This Yoakum team is going to win some games, but they're going to lose some games that they shouldn't unless that defense gets shored up. But I'm going to tell you what, if that defense is just, as you said on the 2A show, if that defense can start making 3 stops a game, this Yoakum offense is good enough.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they're going to win that district. I don't even think they're going to finish second or third. But do you want to play 4th place Yoakum averaging 40-something points a game?
Yeah, in the first round?
The first round, even as a district champ. So watch out for Yoakum. Tough loss, but I like a lot of the things they're doing, especially offensively.
All right. One of the best games of the week last week, Malakoff 29, Madisonville 28. What a game, man. Malakoff's quarterback, Mike Jones, threw a 46-yard touchdown pass to Parker Poteet with 18 seconds left in the game. Jason Tinnison runs it in for the 2-point conversion to make it 29-28 Malakoff.
You know, you and
Is
I.
that not Malakoff just finding a way
Yep.
to win the game against a top 10 team in Class 4A?
A team that handcuffed Mike Jones for 90% of the game. You said it best last week, though. When you've got Mike Jones, it doesn't matter how he plays. I mean, you called this game out perfectly with that because he was not terrible, but he was not good for most of the game.
Sometimes you have those kind of
Yeah,
games
you do,
where
but-
the defense just makes you look
bad.
or not average.
Yeah,
You're
and-
average, right?
And Mike Jones, when it mattered, he guts it up. He throws a touchdown pass. Credit to the defense. Madisonville looked like they were about to salt it away. The defense held. They go to kick a field goal to make it a 10-point game. They miss. And you give Malakoff an inch, they're going to take the game. And Madisonville learned that lesson the hard way. Great win for Malakoff.
Yeah. How about Palestine Westwood 63, Timpson 34?
Wow.
I'm here to tell you that Westwood has arrived.
Yeah, look, we talked about this on the 2A show with Timpson. So now on the Westwood side, look, this offense is going to score with anybody. Their thing is going to be, can they stop good defense or good offenses? And that's going to be an issue. But when you look in this district, I mean, Diboll, Crockett, Fairfield, Tig is okay. None of them jump out offensively.
Right.
Westwood might pull off a little bit of a stunner. I think maybe they could end up winning this district.
Oh, yeah. And not only win this district, but if the bracket turns out right, they may make a deep run in the playoffs.
No, I totally agree. Now, they've got to get past Diboll. That's been their thing. Last year, I remember us talking about
it's
that
no
game.
sweat for them this year. I really don't think. I think Diboll will be a tough one for them, but
Yeah,
they'll
I
get that
think
monkey
that's
off their
more
back.
mental. I think it's more
Yeah,
mental.
They'll get that monkey off their back this year as long as they play the Westwood football they've been playing so far. I think they get the Diboll monkey.
I will
off their
say
back.
this: the Diboll's been interesting this year. They lose to West Rusk 2 weeks ago, 32-13, but they took Madisonville to the mat and lost 28-27.
Which is weird
It's
because
very
West
weird.
Rusk to me right now is not real. I've seen 2 of their games on film, and I'm still trying to decide what
they
it is
are.
about West Rusk. Yeah, I don't know. So that is a little weird.
I mean,
All right,
'cause-
Carthage 58, Liberty Islo 20. No shock in that one, but Liberty Islo just hanging in there.
Oh yeah, as long as everybody's healthy, this is a win. I mean, this is a loss that Coach Willard can, say this is what we want to become. That's, I can show you film, but we're on the field. This is what we want to become. And I'm telling you, folks, Brad Willard, I think he gets them eventually at least where he had Mount Vernon.
Oh, absolutely.
And they play Bullard this week. They'll get right with football. They have an interesting game in 2 weeks to start district. Them and Tatum. We talk about Tatum, and we'll go ahead and go to that one as Tatum gives Newton everything they could handle. They led for parts of the game, but at the end of the day, Newton ends up winning 32-30.
Yeah, I think Tatum led late into the game, and Newton had to drive down with under 3-4 minutes left to win that game.
Okay, folks, I know I'm going to regret this. I'm going to say, doesn't this feel like this is the type of game that might turn Newton back around? Like it kind of felt like if they go 0-3, I'm not saying they wouldn't have gotten to the playoffs or gotten district and lose or anything. I still think, but I'm looking forward past district. I feel like if they go 0-3 to DeRidder and then start district play at 1-4 or 1-3 or maybe even 0-4, I have no clue what DeRidder.
Do you have any idea what DeRidder has?
No, I will by next week though.
Okay.
Oh, you won't be here, but I'll look up. That's one of the ones that even when I living in Marshland, knowing Louisiana football, they weren't ever, that I remember. But I don't know. This just feels like this was needed.
The only thing I remember about DeRidder is going on a road trip from Austin when I lived in Austin and going to Lake Charles, and somehow we end up in DeRidder, and we stopped at a place that would fill your cooler up with crawfish for like $8.
Oh.
And I was eating crawfish, throwing them out the window, and that was in DeRidder.
It looks like. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find information on.
I'm sorry, I thought you
stupid
think that was more impressive story.
No, I do like the story, but they're 1-1.
Thank you.
They're 1-1. They lost to They lost to Southern General South.
Oh, Southern General South
No,
is they're
not them,
crazy.
not them.
Oh.
South Beauregard.
Oh yeah, so South Beauregard.
26-12, and then last week they beat Manny 37-0.
Oh, Manny, yeah.
So
Manny's,
Manny,
whatever.
Monty, hidey ho. Anyway,
Yeah,
my
those
point
are two
is,
tough teams.
how the hell did
Newton, you're up against it, man. Sorry.
my point is, it just felt like that win was really needed in Newton. Like,
Yeah, it was. It was.
I just them 0-3. I don't know. Winsboro takes care of Honeygrove. Look, this is a good win for Winsboro, but they're still kind of sputtering, which we knew they would, replacing everything that they lost offensively last year.
Except for a guy that runs a 10-100.
Yes, but he's a
Get
little
him
bit
the ball.
He's a little bit easier to game plan when you don't have the four other guys. Winsboro's going to figure it out. But yeah, hey, Benbrook.
And Honeygrove, both though they had some. Their quarterback was out.
Yes,
right.
Oh yeah, that's right. Benbrook beats Holiday. For Holiday, that's no bit. For Holiday fans, look at that loss like Munster looks at the loss to you. You just got beat by a bigger 4A team.
Yeah.
And Benbrook is one of those teams. They're going to. Every coach I talk to about this team says the same thing. We don't know why they don't win more. They're big, they're fast. When you look at them on tape, you go, wow, that they've got some guys. They can never put it together.
Yeah.
This is just one of those learning experiences and move on. Same thing for Gunner against Salina too, by the way.
Yeah, Salina 38, Gunner 7. All right, let's go to Wall and Jim Ned. This was a great game. Wall 28, Jim Ned 24. Wall jumped out to a 17-0 lead early in the game. Wall's quarterback, Landon York, 19 of 31 for 220 yards or 222 yards passing. Reed Robertson, 9 catches for 85 yards, and Killian Oliver, 3 catches for 91 yards. I mean, this is a big play Wall offense that needed it against a tough Jim Ned defense. A few big plays, and it's Wall over Jim Ned.
Dude, we knew the defense is gonna be what they are, and what they've started off the year holding Mason to 6, Brownwood to 17, a loss, and then Jim Ned, a team that's gonna be offensively better and better to 24 points. If this Wall offense just keeps growing and keeps learning, under Craig Slaughter what they do, because they are throwing the ball more and all, but I'm telling you what, Wall just kind of outside of us and I think Step and them do a good job. People don't talk Wall out there in 3A Division 2. They need to. They'll play Monahans this week, who they've kind of struggled. Then they play Sweetwater, who they've kind of struggled. But in 2 weeks, their last non-district games against Idalou. That's one we want to look out for. That's going to.
We'll be at that game. When's that? In 2 weeks.
That's in 3 weeks. So October 4th. Might have to go out to that one.
Yeah, I think we will. Where's that?
Wall.
In Wall. Ooh,
we've been to a Wall game before. Yes, sir.
Lawakey. All right, Comanche 36, Eastland 14. Caden Davis throws for 177 yards, 4 scores. LaDanian Smith runs for 140 yards. Comanche is just on another level right now.
Yeah, again, their loss at the beginning of the year to Poth is perfect. Like, that's a good loss.
Yeah.
You'd like to see them score a little more, but again, the Pirates are great defensively. Back-to-back wins against Llano, and Eastland looks like they're finally kind of turning the corner. Now, this week, Comanche takes on Toller. We'll see it a little bit more. This is kind of a calibration game for both because, Toller started off slow, but they've rebounded. And now they're 2-1. So, yeah, good win for Comanche.
Yep.
All right. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we have Coach X. It's a little different this week. We'll explain why. And plus, we have previewing of this week 4 games. We'll do all that when we come back. Sideline to sideline.
Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room, and help with balance when I'm on the baseball field.
One of the most comfortable, reduces concussion, increases performance. You can't get a mouthpiece like that on the market.
Not only is it a great product, it's super easy to use. I recommend it for any player at any age or any level. Thank you guys so much, and go check out NeuroGuard Plus.
NeuroGuard NeuroGuard mouthpiece makes it easier to breathe while playing basketball. The unique design is not as bulky as any other mouthpiece and makes you feel safe in concussions.
NeuroGuard. They control my breathing while I'm riding. It stops me getting concussions while I wreck. It's very easy to use, so go pick one up today.
I'm still doing stunts. And with concussions I've got, I feel much safer with that. I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing a whole lot better in the gym. So NeuroGuard Plus, once this one wears out, you've got a customer for life, because I'm telling you people, NeuroGuard Plus is the way to go, and me, Mark Ash, says so.
Parents, kids, coaches, NeuroGuard. It's the future. Stay tuned.
Lights are bright on Friday
I'm a
night.
little worried,
Fall in
Grant.
small Texas town.
I mean, Coach X is struggling more than we realize. This is what he sent us today. I don't know if you had a chance to look at this. By the way, I'm Terry Bennett. That's Grant Goodwin back here. Sideline to Sideline, the 3A edition. Coach X says, I almost said his name. I mean, we could edit it, but I almost said his name. Guys, I have no picks this week.
It's a travesty.
I'm worried. You see, up here in the Pacific Northwest, there's a lot of stuff to do and not a lot of service and internet. I'm still not understanding what it is he does up there that's a lot.
Who knows?
He's
a vagabond.
You wouldn't think that was the case in the hippie capital of the world, yet here we are. While selling some solar-paneled two-way climate-reducing electric dune buggies to some dude named Larry Garcia. No, not a relation to Jerry. But I was like, come on, there has to be. He, not to Jerry, but somehow was related to Merv Griffith. He then offered me what he told me was a corn dog. Uh-oh. This might have been some hippie slang for Mary Jane. Are you sure
I think that's how the Charles Manson group started out, right? They were hitchhiking.
With corn dogs?
Well, just hitchhiking,
So you're saying he's headed that route? You think he's going to fall in with a cult?
Obviously is. Yeah, he probably is.
He is gullible.
Oh, dude.
Cultists are usually gullible.
How did we get him to work for us for free?
Shut up. I will be back next week with my usual insight to the top games in Texas. I got to get back here. I got to get back out here is what I think he's saying. If you're driving down the PCH and you see a guy with a big X on his shirt that says Grant is a douche, please give him a ride.
Okay, wait. All right. So he's basically hitchhiking up the PCH.
Yep.
If you see him with my name on a shirt, right? He's hitchhiking.
Yeah.
And he's calling me a douche. I hope some guy like Lyle Alzado
grapes him,
picks him up and gives him a ride. And in the middle of the ride says ass, grass,
grass or ass.
Right. And he's got no gas money.
Yep.
Right. And he's got no grass.
So
it means only the ass.
Jerry's gonna be.
I hope he gets abused.
Anyway, all right, let's get into Class 3A preview for this week. All right, first game. I will admit, at the beginning of the year is generally one of our favorites. We've been to a couple of these. They're usually really, really good games.
Not this year.
Not this year. We're talking Malakoff versus Grandview. Look,
Grandview's got a big running back that can hurt you, but I think this Malakoff, we talk about Mike Jones and that group, Jerry and Hall. and all those guys offensively, but we forget about the Malakoff defense and how good they are. And plus, that Malakoff offensive line might be the best in the state.
Yeah, and look, it's tough for Grandview. They were already losing a ton off last year's team, and then when Jael Allen moves, that was like the gut punch. They've had a safety that got hurt in baseball, tore his ligaments. He's out. Grandview's just having a bad run this year,
and they're playing a murderer's row. I mean, they played Glen Rose and Waco Glen Rose.
Well,
and
even
Waco
Eagle
Conway.
Mountain. Eagle Mountain's going to eventually be a really solid school, and they've got a lot of athletes, and they outsized Grandview already, so they were out depth in that game as well, even though they won the game. So yeah, I just think this was going to be a tough one anyway, and I think Grandview can keep it close early because it's a rivalry game, but I think Malakoff ends up naming their own score.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, Malakoff's on a different level. All right, how about Columbus and Madisonville? Might be the 3A game of the week. Columbus quarterback Adam Schobel, their tight end linebacker John Schobel, Grayson Rigdon at running back, who's been
just everything
up PlayStation numbers, right?
Yeah.
Madisonville is going to answer with their quarterback Ty Williams, their running back Philip Green, a really good defense that has been playing really well. The thing is, I think this game will be close.
Yeah.
Into the second, third quarter, and then Columbus will pull away because Columbus is special right now. I think Madisonville is a really good 4A team.
Yeah.
But keeping up with the horses that Columbus has, that's going to put a lot.
But I mean, they kept up with the horses that Malakoff has.
Well, no, they did. They did. But I think, Madisonville and I just think Columbus is going to put way too much pressure on Madisonville's defense.
I don't disagree with you.
To make stops. Madisonville needs 5 to 6 stops, and I don't think they can get it against Columbus.
Now, I want to see what this Columbus offense does when they get to a defense like Madisonville that's not theoretically shouldn't. Columbus isn't going to be up 28-0 in the first quarter. I think Madisonville is going to make them.
They could be.
No, I'm saying
they could
be, but I'm saying Madisonville is good enough that shouldn't happen. And I want to see what happens if Columbus gets 3 drives where they don't score and they've got a punt and they've only ran 3 plays and out.
Where they're frustrated.
Yes.
And they're talking to each other.
Yeah.
And they're chirping. That happens sometimes.
And I think Madisonville is going to do that to them. But I'm like you, at the end of the day, I just, and again, we're not saying Columbus.
I don't think Columbus or Madisonville's going to get Columbus out of their game.
I think really they will. I think Madisonville's. I mean, again,
they'll get them out of their game as far as like maybe they'll be behind the sticks a few more times than they're used to. But Columbus has the answer to being behind the sticks. Columbus has the answer to being behind the sticks.
But again, I mean, we have to go by what we saw. And Madisonville,
You're right.
If we're ranking 3A Division I teams right now, it's Columbus, it's Malakoff, and it's Franklin. It's 3 of that group. Just kind of throwing Franklin in because we were talking about them earlier. So if by proxy, if Madisonville held Malakoff for a lot of that game and held them to 29 points, I think they can give Columbus real trouble. I just don't think they can do it enough. I still think Columbus wins the game.
Well, I go back to I think Madisonville can at times put Columbus out of the behind the sticks, but I think Columbus has the athletes to flood the routes.
Yeah.
Where you can't cover everything, and it's going to be a little dump down. And there's when they need 8, they get 12.
Yep,
I mean that's just how this game's going to go. I think so. Right. I think Columbus wins this game. All right, Lexington and Groesbeck, man, both teams are 3-0. This is a very underrated
I was just about to say that.
on the state level in Class 3A. This should be one of the top games in Class 3A, but yet don't hear a lot of talk about it, right? Both teams are 3-0. Lexington comes in with Case Evans at quarterback, one of the better quarterbacks in Class 3A. He's got receivers in Mason Bill and Weston Bear. Groesbeck has a quarterback in Trent Platt that's been an electric dual threat quarterback so far in the first 3 games. He's had 800 yards passing, 315 yards rushing. Then he's got Jordan Smith at running back. That's their leading rusher and receiver.
Look, I think this
Jordan Smith might be the X factor in this game.
I think that this is Jerry Bomar's best team since he went to Groesbeck. They've been middling at 7-4, and that's kind of where they've topped out. I think this team, and it's funny because they have to replace everybody on defense, and you are seeing that. That's the issue that Groesbeck.
Do you think Trent Platt might be his best quarterback since his son Rhett?
Yeah, I think so. I really do. Trent Platt, especially. The only thing keeping Trent Platt from not getting more, I think, true D1 offers is he's short. He's like 5. He's listed at 5'11", but he's about 5'10", and that still matters, right or wrong. The issue with Groesbeck and where they're going to live or die is going to be that defense. And so far, that defense has struggled. But we knew that they only returned 2 guys. So I think that this could be a quasi shootout early.
I think it is a shootout.
But I think the moment the Groesbeck Goats can't score, I think that's when Lexington puts the gas down and it goes. It's going to be one of those. It's like 28.
Groesbeck can match them offensively
until they can't. And I think Lexington can outlast them because Lexington's defense will make some stops.
Yeah.
Lexington's defense is really solid. So I think this is going to be a surprising score game because I know a lot of people have this as a Lexington blowout. And I think
no, it's not going to be a blowout.
I think it's going to be like 49-30, something like that.
So, yeah, I totally agree.
And I know 19 technically is a blowout, but if you're being matched for most of the game and then one team stretches it out, I just don't look at that as a blowout. Here's a game that nobody, kind of.
Bless me.
Oh, bless you, brother. I didn't know you sneezed, actually. See, I was so locked into where we're going. I'm sorry, man.
You're nothing if you're not locked in. Let me tell you.
Doesn't feel like the compliment I think it is.
No, I just said you're locked in.
Nobody is talking about this game, oddly enough, other than us. And we talked about it on the 4A show. We'll talk about it on the 3A show. Salina versus Franklin. I think that, if it wasn't for Columbus and Madisonville, this would be one of the best 4A versus 3A games of the week, in my opinion.
I kind of don't know why you're not going to this instead of Springtown and
I think
Dilly-Doo.
Okay, so I think, and this is 3A show, I think, I don't know if it's your not overrating. I think you think that game's a bigger walk than I do. I think Springtown wins the game. You think China Spring wins comfortably.
No, I don't think China Spring wins comfortably, but I think China Spring wins. But what I'm getting at is I think Franklin plays Salina a lot closer than what you think.
Oh, no, I do too. I think this is a great game.
I think Salina, with their big defensive front, nasty defensive front, and their big offensive line, eventually will take control of this game. But I think Franklin can mash with Salina for a while.
100% agree. No, the whole reason I'm going to the other game, though, is looking at the schedule until the playoffs. We're not going to see Springtown again. We're not going to see China Spring again. We'll probably see Salina. And we've seen enough of Franklin.
And I guess we can go back and watch Salina Franklin online.
And we've seen enough of Franklin over the last couple of years. We know their team. You've seen Salina already this year, and you were very impressed. So that's why. But, I think
I was thoroughly impressed with Salina,
and folks, if Franklin wins, it would not be a shock. It would not be a shock at all.
I don't see it. I don't think Franklin. Look, Salina's offensive line looks like a D2, FBS type line. They're huge.
Can we get them all to graduate and go to A&M Commerce for me, please? I really would appreciate that.
Sure.
But no, but I'm just saying it's not like Salina and Gunter. That if Gunter would have won that, we'd have been like, holy crap.
Right.
If Franklin beat Salina, I wouldn't be holy crap. I'd be like, wow, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. All right, let's go to another division versus division or class versus class. That sounds weird. Class 3A Pottsboro versus 2A Munster. I like the Cardinals of Pottsboro. I do too.
This is a game with 2 dual threat quarterbacks, right? Munster with the Carney kid and the Pottsboro kid.
Dang it, I don't have the note now.
But they're both dual threat quarterbacks. Whose defense is better though, right? I think Pottsboro. Maybe not necessarily better defensively, deeper defensively.
But I do want to see Caden Humphrey. That's who you're trying to go. I do want to see if Munster's defense learns from that Holiday game, because if they do and they figure a couple of things out, because they got beat by big plays. Holiday scored 49 points, but I say only they had 300 and something yards of offense. That's that point to yards production doesn't really match. Munster, scoring 35 had 500 yards of total offense. So if they can eliminate some big plays, I think they could. I think Caden Humphrey and Pottsboro is going to be a little bit better than what people think this year.
Oh, I think it'll be a great game. All right, here's some quick hitters. Jacksboro, Jim Ned. Give me Jacksboro.
It's funny.
In a close one, though. I think Jim Ned is right there on the cusp. They're looking – there's one little thing. I don't know what it is missing from Jim Ned.
Not quite there.
Something not quite pushing them over the top. They're playing a Jacksboro run game that is just
and a defense
just
this year.
eating a lot of people up.
Yep.
So give me Jacksboro in that one. Ganado and Tidehaven. Give me Tidehaven mainly because of depth.
Yeah, I like Tidehaven in this game as well.
I think Ganado athletically.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In the skilled positions can play with anybody, but Tidehaven is pretty stout defensively, and they got about 3 or 4 more guys than what Ganado's going to have.
So here's a game that used to be big that had kind of died over the last few years. All of a sudden, it might be big again. That's Hallettsville versus Rice Consolidated.
Rice Consolidated with an underrated defense.
Have yet to give up a point. They shut out Shiner 23-0, shut out East Chambers 27-0, shut out Weimer last week 35-0. I think the shutout streak ends, but I like Rice Consolidated to win this game.
You know what? I'm going with you. Before the show started, I was going Hallettsville because Hallettsville is a darn good football team.
Oh, they are. And we have a little soft spot with Rice Consolidated. So, we're just glad.
So I'm going Rice Consolidated, not with the shutout, but winning by 3 points or less. This is going to be a classic.
Don't they mirror, in your mind, a little bit of like they're the 3A Honeygrove of the last couple of years?
Kind of, yeah. If they go 2 more games without giving up,
last year,
they're going to be all over the national internet, just like Honeygrove was.
National internet? Is there a national internet?
It was a national internet thing. You got the Dallas internet, the Houston internet,
it was
the
all
Austin
about
internet, the San Antonio
and then
internet,
the national internet,
the Lufkin,
and then
internet.
the dark web where you live.
Yeah, Silk Road, that kind of things.
In fact, you know that.
I know. I read stories all the time. Plus, I lived like 2 doors down from the guy that started the Silk Road.
I'm sorry,
Did
sir.
you know that
the band is
Austin?
3 doors down?
All right.
You've brought that up before, actually. You said something about. I kind of thought you were joking at the time, but you're serious?
I was lying. No,
Oh.
I don't know the guy.
saying,
I know he's from Austin, and I'm in quasi from Austin. All right, Canyon West Plains and Bushland.
That's a sexuality in Austin, quasi. What were you saying? Sorry.
You just kind of threw me for a loop. I don't know where I'm going.
Canyon West and Bushland.
Oh, West Plains and Bushland. Give me Bushland.
Yeah, give me Bushland. Last year, this was a shootout. Bushland won 49-41. Or was that 2 years ago? Either way, these 2 teams know each other, but give me Bushland.
All right. Belleville and Hitchcock. What a doozy here, man. Belleville, Hitchcock. Belleville's running backs, D.D. Murray. It's like Renicki, Kendrick Turner, DJ Sanders at defensive ends. Probably is the best defensive player in.
I think he's the best player in the
Texas
state of Texas, no matter the classification. I legitimately feel that way.
Now, Hitchcock is very athletic in the skill positions, right? Probably a little bit more athletic, a lot more athletic than Belleville's skill position players as far as in space and whatnot. The problem is, I don't know. I'm pretty much sure that Hitchcock cannot win the line of scrimmage on either side of the ball. Belleville is very stout up front on both sides of the ball.
Yep, I agree. But when you've got a quarterback like Jones who can scramble, a couple broken plays, finds a guy down the field, I think that happens. But I think as the game wears down, you start to see Belleville wear them down.
Yeah, eventually, if you're Lloyd Jones, you can't be running
By the way,
out of the pocket every play and pressure bearing down on you and get rid of the ball accurately all the time. And Belleville can just eat it up between the tackles.
Kudos to Hitchcock for understanding what was their issue last year
and what they needed.
And so they're going out to play at Belleville so that when they play Columbus in the first round or in district, and then they play either a Columbus or a Franklin or somebody like that in the playoffs, that they're going to at least know the physicality that they've seen. All right, let's finish it up with a game that I keep.
I wish we were kind of out at this game.
Well, everybody's making it like they think Canadian's going to blow the doors off Muleshoe. I think Muleshoe gives them a game. I think Canadian will
I
win
do
it.
too. I think Muleshoe. Look, Canadians prime for the pickings right now because they got starters out for one reason or another. Right, the last 2 weeks. I don't know if they're back this week, but if they're not, Muleshoe can make hay with running back Jazu Sagala. Nathan Martins at quarterback. Nathan Martins is one of the most underrated quarterbacks, by the way, in the Panhandle, if not all of Region 1.
Yeah.
And then Mauricio Herrera and Yahir Cazeta at receiver. Canadian, though, man, they are going to answer with their tight end linebacker, Wyatt Davis. I mean, that's a beast.
Dude,
one of the
he's
best
fun to
players in
watch.
Class 3A.
He is a fun guy to watch.
Yeah,
on
he's
both
not
sides of
as
the ball.
fun as DJ Sanders, but
different style player. Different
style player. But if you put him and DJ Sanders on the same team,
Jesus
oh my
Christ.
God,
just have Wyatt just ride the hip of Sanders and let him block, and
Right.
Wyatt would have 200
I think
tackles.
this game is close. I think Canadian wins, but I think Muleshoe is good enough to be in there with a chance to win late.
No, I totally agree. And the crazy thing is these two teams could end up playing in the first round of the playoffs, depending on districts, because it's 1A versus 1-3A versus 2-3A. Is that it?
Yep.
Dude,
so.
We have put to bed 3 shows. We do appreciate everybody joining us. Again, I don't know if I said it was a 3A show. Next week, it'll be 1 show. Grant will be out. He's got a groin injury he's got to deal with. So he's going to be out. Well, if you have
I hadn't heard it yet, but I know
I'm about to say, if you have a good trip.
Probably because I'm going to hurdle the sawhorse that somebody's put in the parking lot. Who put a sawhorse in the parking lot
out here
of the studio
again?
Golly, yeah, man. And I'm going to hurdle it. So I already know.
You know what happens if you get
injury.
2 sawhorses? The next day you wake up and there's a gaggle of sawhorses all around.
Then the Charlie horse comes in.
Charlie horse goes in. Anyway,
he calls it a sawhorse.
So next
why?
week, because it looks like a horse. So
maybe that's what Coach X and I will do. We're going to make these. Yeah, no, I've got a perfectly great money making idea. We're going to do like AI sawhorses.
Are they going to run your Secrets daycare?
Maybe.
My dad said that it should be Secrets nursing home because old people tend to get more STDs. And so kind of have a little idea, a little swingers, a key party at Secrets.
How good looking are these?
Yeah, because we are technically getting
though.
Close into that. We're getting close to that. I got the AARP stuff starting to come to me. And
I mean,
and I gotta admit,
I'm not about it.
I'm not quite old yet, but I gotta admit, dinner at 4 p.m. seems a little better now.
That's what we eat dinner at 2 sometimes. Then we don't eat till we get snacks out of the game. I'm back to the hotel room.
Just wake up, eat
you like
dinner.
these fuegos? Yep. Honey buns?
Anyway,
yep.
So next week he's going to be out. And so we're going to do 1 show. I'm going to have different people on from different, from 4A, 3A, and 2A, just kind of talking football across the state of Texas. So it'll be on all our normal channels and all, but I just wanted everybody to know that. All right.
I hope you don't miss me too much.
We didn't last year. That was too quick. Sorry about that. Until
I'm
next
Greg
time.
Tepper.
If you have any questions, thoughts, or
He does that all
comments,
the time.
you can email me or us, Grant and Terry at S2Sport.com. You can find us on Twitter at Grant and Terry. You can like us on Facebook. Just type in Sideline to Sideline. Until next time, he's Grant and Terry. This is Sideline to Sideline, the 3A edition. Brought to you by New York Guard Plus on L4 Media.
You're the band. Play the alma mater for the sheriff's daughter, 'cause she's the queen of the hometown fans.
Did it.
Well, I'd seen it all when I was small, and I'd sitting in my